What is your advice to those who have doubts about maktabah salafiyyah? Well, you won't be the first. And claims that they do not have to take or be associated with them to be upon salafiyyah. Well, that's true. You don't have to be, you don't have to, if you're living in Pakistan or living in Denmark or Germany or France, then you don't have to take from Salafi Publications and, to be associated with them from a brotherly point of view, then that's obligatory. The Ukhuwa Islamiyah is wajib upon all of us. It's wajib to have a brotherhood between the believers and between Ahlul Sunnah, and this is wajib. If you don't understand that concept, then you must be ignorant. So, in terms of brotherhood and affinity and affection, then that is wajib between Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. And to abandon Ahlul Sunnah, it is not permissible to do that. If you have doubts about Maktabah Salafiyyah, then I don't know what doubts you could have. I don't know. If those doubts are concerning the Aqeedah, then bring the errors in our Aqeedah. If those doubts are concerning our manhaj, then bring the errors in our manhaj, or those doubts that have been thrown about you regarding the manhaj. As far as I know, for the last 25 and odd years, I can't say that our manhaj or our Aqeedah or our understanding of Tawheed and our understanding of the Sunnah is erroneous. I don't see any of that. Rather, our Aqeedah is the Aqeedah of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Our Aqeedah is the Aqeedah of Imam al-Barbahari. Our Aqeedah is the Aqeedah of Imam al-Bukhari. Our Aqeedah is the Aqeedah of the Tabi'een before them. And our Aqeedah is the Aqeedah of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. If someone throws a doubt at that, then it is upon them to bring the evidence. I can't now, second guess you and tell you what your doubts are. You need to tell me what your doubts are. Where's the error? If you are listening to rumors of the people, then people make all types of rumors. And they will throw all types of, accusations and castigate the people and make suspicion about the people without evidence and proof. If they don't have evidence and proof, then you are not obligated to accept it. Rather, you are obligated to reject it. Because what is known is that we affirm following of the Kitab and the Sunnah and the way of the Sahaba. We are not except upon the Aqeedah of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah and Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab. That's why we're teaching his book. And we are upon that which bin Baz is upon. We're sitting in a masjid that is named after Shaykh Abdul Aziz bin Baz. And we teach the books of Shaykh al-Fawzan and Shaykh Ahmed al-Najmi and Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen and Shaykh al-Albani. And these are the books that we translate, and our websites are filled with this. And the brothers who are with Maktabah Salafiyyah or are affiliated to Maktabah Salafiyyah, that's what we know about them also. If you know something different, this is upon you. Hatu burhanukum in kuntum sadiqeen. Bring your burhan if you are truthful. Bring your evidence if you are truthful. What do you say to those youth who claim that they can differentiate between truth and falsehood, and they will do their own research about taking from people who have opposed the Salafis in the West? Then if they are youth and they do not have knowledge and they are not grounded in their Salafiyyah, then I fear that they will be led astray. So if there are people who are mukhalifun to the da'wah to Salafiyyah and to the Salafis in the West, for example, those who fight against Maktabah Salafiyyah, those who fight against Masjid Ibn Baz, those who fight against our brothers in the various Salafi Marakis in London and in Manchester and in Bradford and elsewhere in Cardiff and wherever else against the country, and they are opposed to them and they fight against them and they warn against them and they oppose them, and at the same time that they are with those people of innovation, whether they be from the Qutubiyya or the Sururiyya or the Ikhwaniyya, or they are with the Ash'aris, or that they are with the likes of Ali Hassan al-Halabi, or Abu Hassan al-Ma'ribi, or Yahya al-Hajuri, or Ibrahim al-Ruhaili, then those types of people who are with them and then they attack us, then it's understandable. Why? Because of our refutations against them, that they will try to cause doubts and throw doubts in your mind. So now you're going to come and try and decipher truth and falsehood, which means that you must be grounded, really grounded and firm upon your understanding of the methodology of the Salaf. So I assume that a person who's going to now come and differentiate between truth and falsehood regarding those who have opposed the Salafi da'wah in our times, then he must be fully acquainted with the Aqidah and the manhaj of Ahmad ibn Hanbal and his students. And likewise, the likes of Ibn Mubarak and Fudayl ibn Iyad and al-Marwazi. And he has studied as-Sunnah of Ibn Abi Asim. And that he has studied the books of Ibn Taymiyyah. And he knows the da'wah of Shaykh al-Fawzan. And he has read completely from beginning to end Al-Ajwibatul Mufida, those questions and answers regarding the manhaj, and Ahlul Bid'ah with questions that were posed to Shaykh al-Fawzan. And likewise, he's well acquainted with the fatawa in the Amur Manhajiyya and Aqadiyya of Shaykh Abdul Aziz bin Baz and Al-Albani, and also Shaykh Muqbil. And that he's well acquainted with the Rudud of Shaykh Rabi'. Then, possibly, but then you won't have to, right? Because the job's already done for you. Because if you read all those works, you won't have to go any further. Because you would have read what Shaykh Rabi' has said, and what Shaykh Muqbil has said, what Shaykh Al-Albani has said about the likes of Ihya Turath, and against Abdul Rahman Abdul Khaliq, and what Shaykh Rabi' has written against Abu Hassan Al-Ma'rabi, and what Shaykh Rabi' has written against Yahl Hajuri, and likewise what has been written against Ibrahim al-Ruhaili, then you will be well acquainted with that. And if you're acquainted with that from their writings, then you don't have to sit there and figure it all out for yourselves. Because the scholars have done that for you and the evidence is there. So I don't advise with people going around now and doing their own reasoning and their own research, and they don't have the ability or the knowledge to do so. Read Shaykh Rabi', read Shaykh Muqbil. It's out there already. Read it. Those are trustworthy ulama. Don't just take from them blindly. If Shaykh Rabi' has written against Abu Hassan al-Ma'rabi, and Shaykh Rabi' has spoken against Brixton, and Shaykh Rabi' has spoken against Luton, and Shaykh Ahmad al-Najmi made tabdeel upon the heads of those who are running or were running that center in Luton CTI, and Shaykh Rabi' has spoken against them and other than them. Now all you need to know is what was his dalil. If you want to know the dalil, just ask. If you don't know how to get to it, ask us and we'll direct you towards it. You can read it yourself if you know the Arabic language. And even if you don't know the Arabic language, then many of our brothers, then they have translated some of those refutations, like our brother Shaykh Abu Iyad Amjad Rafiq Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, from those individuals who is from the most diligent of our brothers in translation and putting out some of these rudud in these refutations in clarification of them. What is your advice? All these manhaji questions today. What is your advice to those who are confused about the Salafi manhaj and da'wah in the UK? And when they are advised to return to the elders in the da'wah in the UK, they say we are going to focus on learning the Arabic, so we can take directly from the scholars. That's good. If you're going to focus directly, if you're going to focus upon the Arabic language so you can take from the scholars, that's praiseworthy. But if you're confused, as the questioner says, about the Salafi manhaj, and you're only going to really study the Salafi manhaj after you've learned the Arabic language, then that's like putting the cart before the horse kind of thing. You should be upon Tawheed and the correct Aqeedah and the correct methodology from the beginning of your affair, from the beginning of your practice of your religion. You don't put, these restrictions and these conditions that I am not going to study the Aqeedah and I'm not going to learn the manhaj and I'm not going to learn anything and I'm not going to study anything up until I've mastered the Arabic language. So what happens if you don't master the Arabic language? You're going to abandon the Sunnah? Because when you say that they're confused about the Salafi manhaj, meaning that they're confused about the Sunnah. That's what they're saying. So you're going to remain confused about the Sunnah till you learn هذا باب وهذا القلم. So you're going to remain confused about the Sunnah and Salafiyyah. My advice to you is study. There is no conflict and there is no contradiction in studying the usul of the deen, the manhaj as-Salafi, and the da'wah to Salafiyyah, and the Qaaidah, and learning Arabic language, and memorizing the Quran, and studying fiqh, and studying how to pray, and studying nahu, the Arabic grammar. There is no contradiction if you were to study all of them, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the affair easy for the one who wishes to study these affairs. So go, barakallahu feekum, and sit in the durus. If you're confused about the Salafi manhaj, speak to one of the brothers. Speak to one of the elders, those who have been in the da'wah for many, many years, if not decades. If you want to go directly to the scholars, catch a flight and go and sit with the scholars. Which scholar, if you're confused about the Salafi da'wah, which scholar are you going to sit with? So now you're confused about the Salafi da'wah, all right? And you're confused about the Salafi manhaj. So which scholar are you going to sit with, out of the hundreds that are on offer in Egypt and Morocco and Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and, all over the Arab world? Which one are you going to go to who's going to clarify your manhaj for you? If you have any ideas, let us know. Because you don't even know, because you can't go to Sheikh bin Baz, he's dead. You can't go to Al-Albani. Who are you going to go to? Who are you going to go to? If you go to Ruhaili, you're ruined. If you go to Hajuri, you're ruined. If you go to Ma'rabi, you're ruined. All right? But you don't know who to go to because you're confused about the manhaj. You might end up with an Ikhwani. You might end up with a Takfiri who calls himself Salafi. It's possible, right? You might end up with a Qutubi or a Sururi. You might end up with, someone like from the students of Safar al-Hawali. Or you might end up with Salman al-Awda. Then what are you going to do? I went to sat with the Salafi, I've come back, I really know the Salafi manhaj now. Let's go marching in the streets. Right? Because you think you've gone and studied with the Salafi. But you've come back Ikhwani or Qutubi or Sururi. A revolutionary, a Thawri. So you say, okay, I'm going to go and study with Muhammad al-Hassan in Egypt. Because he benefited from Al-Albani and he's a Salafi. So what are you going to come back with now? You're going to come back pure Ikhwani. That's how you're going to come back. You go and study with Abu Ishaq al-Huwaini. You're going to come back Ikhwani. Because you're confused. You're going to go to Mustafa al-Adawi in Egypt. And you're going to come back Ikhwani. Hizbi. Or you go to, Kuwait and study under one of those, Adnan Abdul Qadir, or one of those students of Abdul Rahman Abdul Khaliq. Because he calls himself Salafi and he's written some nice books, as far as you've been told. So you're confused now. You learn the Arabic language, you're just going to end up more confused. Because you don't know where you're taking your knowledge from. What is your advice to the youth who take from those who are unknown? Who take from those who are unknown to the scholars and have been involved in organizations such as Medina.com, who are known to attack Ahlul Sunnah. That is very true. Medina.com, stroke Fatwa Online, same manhaj as Brixton, same manhaj as Tahir Wyatt. These people spent nearly a decade fighting against Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. They are upon the manhaj of Abu Hassan, upon the manhaj of Ali Hassan al-Halabi. They are, they were chameleons in the beginning because they thought that they could convince Sheikh Rabi' and Sheikh Ubaid against the Salafis in the West. So Sheikh Rabi' refuted them. And that recording is still present. And Sheikh Ubaid refuted them. But they continued in their attack and they just went from one sheikh to another sheikh up until they thought that they had won the day. Many of them, they ended up defending Zakir Naik. Others amongst them that they clearly and openly, they mix and they cooperate with and they share platforms with mubtadi'ah, clear-cut innovators who oppose the da'wah to salafiyyah. And you see them even in their remnants in the UK, even though really, I know most of you are thinking, who are they? Why? Because they're finished, alhamdulillah. Ahlul Haqq were victorious over them by the permission and bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the favor of Allah. They were refuted, and the articles in refutation of them are still present. Alhamdulillah. Some of them you'll find on my website, some of them on those articles that were written by Sheikh Abu Iyad, and even that which has been recorded in clarification of the doubts by our brother, Sheikh Abu Hakim. And all of that is still available. I remember for many years that these people were a thorn in our sides. For many years, they had nothing else to do except to fight against the Salafis. Nothing else to do. That's all they were doing. Their nights and days were just consumed. This is going back to maybe the about 2005, 2004, around about that era, maybe slightly later, maybe slightly earlier. And their actual enmity was even before that. So these people are known. And they have their remnants, because now really it's just a disparate group of individuals now. So they have one doing da'wah in the north of England, one doing da'wah in, I don't know, some Leicester or somewhere like that. So they're disparate now. They're kind of like separated amongst themselves. So now they call themselves independent of any organization, because they don't even have each other anymore. And this is the reality of the people of Tahazzub and Hizbiyah. You split up into one party. So you split from Ahlul Sunnah, who are Ahlul Haqq. So you split away from them and you set up your own little organization. Fatwa Online, Medina.com, alongside Brixton, alongside Luton, alongside some of the other Hizbiyun and Ahlul Bid'ah. And you set up your own little Hizb. So you're cooperating with each other for a while. They work with Green Lane Mosque, these who call themselves Ahlul Hadith, but in reality they're just another Hizb. And they work with Ihya at-Turath. And over them they have Wasiullah Abbas, who keeps giving them more and more push and encouragement to carry on. So they feel protected for a while. But then they find that they can't get on with each other. So then slowly but surely they peel away from each other and set up their own separate organizations. Literally, separate organizations and groups. Then when they realize that actually even in smaller groups, we don't get on with each other. So then they peel away even more. And eventually they actually become independent by themselves. One of the brothers actually, I would love to read what you showed me earlier. One of them has reached a stage, he says, I am now independent of every organization, every group, every person. I am on my own. I don't work with anyone. Anyone invites me, I'll go. But if they don't invite me, I won't go. And I'm not with anyone. Khalas, you're the jama'ah on yourself, by yourself. Because this is tahazzub, right? Because sectarianism and hizbiyah and partisanship leads to further partisanship. That's how it works. That's how it works. And this is how these people are. And this is why you find that they themselves are split into groups and parties and sects fighting amongst each other. Whereas this maktabah salafiyyah that you keep warning against, the same people who were there 25 years ago are the same people there today. This is what he said. He said, my experience has led me to establish my own platform. Khalas. No Medina.com, no Fatwa Online, no Brixton, no Luton, no Green Lane Mosque. None of these, no Suhaib Hassan anymore. None of these, because these were all of their sheikhs. They used to say, we have scholars in the UK. Who are your scholars? Those associated with Green Lane Mosque. So they wrote a document, actually, approved by Wasiullah Abbas, that the scholars in the UK, Suhaib Hassan, Abdul Hadi Umari, Hafidullah Khan, all of these people working and cooperating with Ahlul Bid'ah, with the Deobandis, with the Sufis, with the Quburis, even with the Shia, with the politicians, with Salma Yaqub, with the Respect Party. One of them actually became a councillor for the Socialist Party, Respect Party up in Bradford. So that's how they were. So they split. So they started warning against Green Lane. So Wasiullah warned against Green Lane. So khalas, that's no more Wasiullah in Britain. Because they're the ones who were inviting him. So no more Wasiullah. So now, Green Lane goes on in its own way with the Al-Maghrib Institute. Right, so now, then you have these organizations like Brixton. Then Brixton splits amongst itself. The founder starts warning against them. So then when he gets fed up warning against them, then he gets all nostalgic and keeps making videos about how it was in the early 90s. Nostalgia. And then he starts calling, those that he used to know in the early 90s, interview with this one, interview with that one, interview with that one. Oh, do you remember how it was in 1992? Ya akhi, fear Allah. There's no retro da'wah. So, this one now says, this is one of those Medina.com lot. My experience has led me to establish my own platform. Khalas, I'm not with anybody else anymore. So after rolling for years and walking around for years with different parties and groups in, these tenuous alliances in their common enmity towards Sheikh Rabi' and their common enmity in Britain against maktabah salafiyyah, now I've established my own platform, upon which I call to the book and the Sunnah independently. Khalas. I'm independent of all of them. I am not affiliated with any personalities or organizations or websites or forums or groups of people officially in the West. Not associated with anyone. My da'wah includes visiting the masajid of Ahlul Hadith as well as other masajid that publicly ascribe themselves to the West. So basically my da'wah now is, if you call yourself Salafi, I'll go to you. To deliver khutbahs and lectures independently, without restrictions, to convey the truth. What truth, ya akhi? Are you fed up? No, they don't get fed up because, they have ambitions. They have delusions of grandeur. This hubbu shuhra, this love of fame and notoriety, so that whether they are known for good or evil, we just want to be known. So now, one of them, he said, I am the defender of the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I am the guard of the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he puts it down as his, tagline, or I don't know what you call it, strap line. Right, because now he believes, and I am, the student of Wasiullah Abbas. Right, then the group that were with them, with Wasiullah Abbas against Green Lane, the group splits. So the group that split from Green Lane to warn against Green Lane, so now Wasiullah Abbas warns against Green Lane Mosque. In fact, it's recorded. So then, when he warns against Green Lane Mosque, Medina.com and these people, what are we going to do? So they make a faction against Green Lane. But they're still with Sahib Hassan and Abdul Hadi and those. Then Sahib Hassan, of course, goes off the rails, defending his son upon evolution and the evolution of apes into humans and so on. So he says, well, it's a matter of ijtihad. Right? So now he becomes a bit of a hot potato. So he's not now the big sheikh and mujtahid of Britain that he was and as they were claiming. So Sahib Hassan becomes finished. So they themselves begin to split between themselves. So a group of them go to Wasiullah Abbas, warning against the other group. So now he doesn't know what to do. So he, instead of now realizing that actually something fishy is going on here, he supports one faction against another faction, against the faction that split away from Green Lane. And then you think, we're confused? You have doubts about our da'wah after this? Really? What do you see from us? We were giving da'wah. I remember going with Abu Hakim in 1992. 1992. He said, he must have been what? 20? 19? Abu Hakim then? I said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to Birmingham University. Or I think it was called Birmingham Polytechnic then. I said, what for? He goes, they've called me to do a khutbah. I said, khalas, I'll go with you. And he used to do, the CC Da'wah. We used to have a version of it in Birmingham. Abu Hakim every week, 1991, 1992. We used to go together. In 1993, we went to Sweden, drove actually, hired a car, myself and Abu Hakim and another brother. And we took the ferry to Holland. From Holland, we drove from Holland into Belgium, into Germany, from Germany into Denmark. Of course, there was no terrorism stuff in those days. This is 93. So Denmark, we stayed in Denmark for a while, did some da'wah in Copenhagen. Then we took a ferry to Malmö. From Malmö, we drove all the way across to Stockholm, to a community of Bosnians, refugees. And we spent a few days with them giving da'wah. I mean, how we ended up with Bosnian refugees is another story. It's got to do with my family. But nevertheless, that was in 93. The same brothers that we were with then, and I see some of those faces still today. Alhamdulillah, Ibrahim I see over there, right from the mid-90s. Walillahi alhamd. And we used to come even to London, UEL, you remember, University of East London, right? It's not far from here. That was what, 95, 96? South Bank, where's Jamaluddin and Muhammad, UK. That was what, 96, 97? We're the same people. Same Abu Khadeejah, same Abu Iyad, same Abu Hakim, Abu Talha rahimahullah was with us. We're the same people, still united, still together, still upon the same manhaj, still with Sheikh Rabi, still with Sheikh bin Baz, still with... Where are you? You're doing your own da'wah. I'm independent, I'm an independent body, I'm doing my own thing. Even in East London, you see one group split away a few years ago. Where are they? Masakeen. We're not interested in Abu Umar. We don't want the da'wah of Abu Umar. Why you hate Abu Umar so much? Rahimahullah ta'ala. We're going to do our own thing. We're fed up with Atheism. So they set up their own stall somewhere and they do their own thing and they end up, where are they now? Khalas. What is done for Allah remains. What is done for Allah remains. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all of our actions and our deeds and our da'wah for His sake, because that is what will remain. The Muwatta of Imam Malik was not the only Muwatta that was written. There were several written. Al-Muwatta Fulan, Al-Muwatta Fulan, Al-Muwatta Fulan. But which one remained? Malik. They asked Malik. He said, they said, look, all of these people are writing what you're, similar title to you. He said, whatever was written, whatever was done for Allah will remain. The Muwatta of Malik remains. Whatever was done for Allah, this masjid was built for Allah. And Allah knows best what is in the hearts. And our da'wah was for that sake. That's why till the death of Abu Talha we were with him. Till the death of bin Baz we were with him. Till the death of Muqbil we were with him. Till the death of Abu Umar, Farooq, Linton, rahimahullah ta'ala, we were with him till he died. Same manhaj, same aqeedah. Abu Uwais, Abdullah Ahmad Ali, with him, upon the same manhaj. No ta'assub, no tahazzub. Love for the sake of Allah, love of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Look at these people, they can't stay with each other for 5 minutes without fighting. Ask me about Abu Hakim, ask me about Abu Iyad, ask me about Abdullah. Abdullah I've known since 95. Al-Ahmami, Hafidhullah Ta'ala. Awais al-Tawil, Hassan al-Somali, since the 90s. Hassan al-Somali came, I remember Hassan al-Somali came to the conference in Birmingham in 1997. Same with Abdul Ilah. Same with our brother, Sheikh Uwais al-Tawil. Same people, same brothers. What's changed? The brothers in Slough. I remember meeting them. When did we meet first? With our brothers from Slough, what, 2000, 2001? Still the same brothers. Because Ahlul Sunnah are like that. We don't split. If one goes astray because he's deceived by the people of Bid'ah, it doesn't mean that all of us fall apart. So who in reality, who is this person now, who comes along and says, I'm going to do my own research and, these people, I'm independent and I'm going to... Carry on. Carry on. Does it hurt us? It doesn't hurt us. You going astray does not hurt us. What is the group Maududi And can I pray behind them? Maududi group are the followers of Abu A'la Maududi, and he is, his group's name is Jamaat-e-Islami, they're from Pakistan. And they basically deviated. Sayyid Qutb took his methodology from them. So they're basically revolutionary political agitators. It is a haraka, it is a political movement. Is prayer behind them valid? Yes, as far as I know, prayer behind them is valid. But if there's Salafis that you pray behind, or there's a Salafi masjid nearby, then it is awla that you pray there. What do you say about those who abandon the durus at Masjid bin Baz and form their own classes? Well, I've already answered that one. What is the recompense of those who say these things about the prophets and the awliya and the miracles? If they are Mu'tazila, or that they are taking the ideas of the Mu'tazila out of ignorance, then they have udhr bil jahl, they are excused for their ignorance. So therefore they are to be taught. If they persist upon their deviation, then they are in a very precarious situation. At the very least, they are mubtadi'ah, they are innovators. And at the worst, they may have fallen into kufr, if they deny that which is clear from the Book of Allah. So each situation requires its own investigation. How do you advise a young brother who is very close friends, of not very good companions? They started slowly practicing and cannot fully be independent from them. You can be independent from them, barakallahu feekum. You can. Your deen is for Allah. You love for Allah, you give for Allah, you take for Allah, you love for Allah, you hate for Allah. What's friendship got to do with it? What's friendship got to do with it? If it is for Allah, then you make your nearness and you make your acts of worship, your wala, your bara, your hub, your bughd for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do you mean they're your friends? If your friends are opposing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are no longer your friends. If they are opposing the Sunnah of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then they are not your friends. If they are committing major sins, then all they're going to do is drag you into their major sins with them. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-mar'u ala dini khalilih," that a man is upon the religion of his companions, of his close companion. So let each one of you look to whom he takes as his close companion, as his friend. So be careful. You don't need friends like this. Look at the masjid, is full of friends. Sit with them. Pray here. Come here on Yawm al-Jum'ah. Or if you're not from here, if you're from Alperton, Masjid Sunnah, then go to that markaz. If you're from Darul Sunnah in Shepherd's Bush, go to that. Some brother came to me, or did he come to me or did he phone me? I forget. But it wasn't long ago, less than a week ago. I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Oh, I'm from London." I said, "Which part of London?" He said, Wembley or somewhere around, I can't remember. Yeah, Shepherd's Bush or something. I said, "Well, go to Darul Sunnah." He said, "Who?" I said, "I'm sure our brother Shamsi teaches there. Just go to his dars. If you're in Alperton, go to Markaz al-Sunnah. The brothers are teaching there. If you're in Tower Hamlets, our brother Abu Khadeejah is teaching there." So wherever you are now, almost in London, there's always a markaz within stone throw of you. Masjid Sunnah in West London. There's always something within a stone throw of you. I mean, not that anything in London is as easy as a stone throw, but nevertheless, it's within reach, inshallah. If you're slightly outside, then Slough is there. Reading is there. Further north, you have Birmingham. Between Birmingham and Manchester, you have Stoke. In Manchester, you have the markaz there. You go across the Pennines and you have Bradford. And there's a markaz there. In Sheffield, there's a Salafi masjid. In Cardiff, what excuse do we have? If you say, "Well, I don't live anywhere near these," then what do you need to do? You need to move, man. Come on. We're not going to build a masjid outside your house. You need to move. You know, it's amazing what people do for a job. I'm going to Aberdeen. Why are you going to Aberdeen? I've got a new job in Aberdeen. You say to him, "Why don't you send your child to a Salafi school?" "Because I live in a part of London, I don't really want to leave." But you leave for a job, but you won't leave for the education of your children and the welfare and the tarbiyah of your children. We need to fix our priorities. think we'll leave the rest of the questions. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakumullahu khairan. Sorry for taking up so much of your time, but I'm not here that often. Every 2 weeks, I think, every 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be back, inshallah. So Jazakumullahu khairan for your patience. Wa subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka.